to translate to action. Listen, they have this theory that if they take out Trump and they get Tucker Carlson fired and they liquidate Alex Jones and they keep MTG off committees for a first term in Congress, unheard of, if they take away the law license of Rudy Giuliani and bankrupt one of the greatest men in this country, if they bankrupt the Hoffs over at Gateway Pundit and John Eastman, I can go down and down and down and get parents to go into school boards intimidated. If they can go take the little Catholic churches, the Latin Mass Catholic churches, and intimidate them. If we just sit there and say, "Oh, woe is me," then we lose. We're winning. We're ascended. This movement's getting bigger every day. Look at why did Joe Biden roll the dice and want to debate President Trump on Thursday, 5 months before the campaign, simply because he's so far down, he's so far behind, because African Americans, Hispanics, Asian Americans, people under 29 years old, everybody is coming to MAGA. 2/3 of the country to MAGA, and they're coming because they understand that this is about taking their country back and stopping this invasion, stopping the forever war, stopping the madness on Capitol Hill. Our movement's ascended. They think if they can decapitate that and do it with, 50 negative pieces on Charlie Kirk and Turning Point's terrible. And trust me, Charlie Kirk's going to get an IRS investigation. They're already, I'm sure going after Charlie Kirk in every different aspect. If we act like we're intimidated, they're going to win. Here's why look, would I rather not spend the next 4 months there? Of course not. But it is what it is. And here's what I know. My team and our audience will step up to the plate. That's why Next Man Up, because this is a 20-year project to take our country back. A lot of us are not going to be around in a couple of years. President Trump is 78 years old and had the burden of the world put on him, including being not just a company strip, but in a couple of weeks he's going to be sentenced to prison. Donald Trump, who gave us 3.5, 4 years of peace and prosperity as president. This is how out of control it is.
Oh, what she's doing is she's trying to get out the visual and the idea of assassinating Donald Trump. This is where this is headed. I hope everyone understands, whether it be Julius Caesar, Abraham Lincoln, John F. Kennedy, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Bobby Kennedy. Assassinations of major political leaders are nothing new. And yet we've kind of been immune to that for a couple of decades. We have been warning about this for months. Now, the very interesting question is, will they try to kill Joe Biden or Donald Trump? That's the interesting question. Which one right now is a bigger threat to them? And that I'll let the audience kind of ruminate on that question. But we've been warning about this for quite some months. This is why the next man up philosophy is so important, and why we wanted to do the show with you, Steve, as a show of force, is that you take one out, 100 more appear. You take one out, 1,000 more appear. You take one out, 10,000 more appear. You take one out, we give more money. You take one out, we register more voters. You take one out, is that it only actually makes us stronger. You see, there are 3 different ways to analyze political movements or to categorize them. There are the fragile, the durable, and the anti-fragile. This is from Nassim Taleb, which is a phenomenal book. The fragile is the Mitt Romney Republican Party. That is the Paul Ryan Republican Party. You say one bad word about them, they collapse, they bend a knee, they surrender, and they're relentlessly apologizing, and they're spineless. Then there is the durable. The durable is the best of the conservative movement prior to Donald Trump. That would be the conservative movement that always held on, and they put up a good fight, had some fortitude, but didn't quite have enough to be able to endure the grind or the slog of the activist regime media. And then there is the anti-fragile. I encourage everyone to read the book Anti-Fragile. In the book Anti-Fragile, Nassim Taleb argues that there are unique people, organizations, movements, restaurants, companies that actually get stronger the more pressure and opposition that is applied upon them. And when you find an anti-fragile movement, that their life force is actually what ends up being opposition. That is Donald Trump. Has anyone noticed that Donald Trump looks younger, stronger, more full of life and vitality after the indictments than before the indictments? It gives him purpose, reason of being. It gives him a telos, as the Greekers would say, or a teleological purpose for existence. This movement that we are part of right now, that historians will write about for the next 1,000 years. Let me say that again. This movement that you are part of will be written about for the next millennia. People do not remember the many movements from 400 or 500 years ago. Maybe a little bit here, English Revolution, whatever. This movement will be written about for 1,000 years. And when the history books are written, it will befuddle historians 600, 700, 800 years from now. Why is it that the people that had so much to lose, the Steve Bannons, the Peter Navarros, the Donald Trumps, they kept on doubling and tripling down? Because full of fortitude and that resolute spirit, we have the chance to influence the arc of history, as the left-winger Hegelians would always say. The arc of history always bends towards justice. How about this? The arc of history will bend back towards citizen-led government, not subjects, not slaves. And we will use this dark moment as they cart you off tomorrow, Steve, and put you in handcuffs, and we say goodbye for 123 days. For 123 days, I will work harder than I ever have my entire life. This is repulsive. This is disgusting. It is outrageous. And it is a call to action for every citizen watching right now to do more. You are not doing enough. I am not doing enough, because one of our on-field commanders is getting taken off for 123 days. What are we going to do about it?